right. Good evening, everybody. This is your Facebook meteorologist, Sean Bagden here, and we're going to be talking today about the winter storm that's currently affecting western Wyoming and is expected to be impacting western Wyoming through the next several days here. Just a little announcement before we get started here. We are currently at 4,992 followers right now, and we're going to continue this live stream going until we hit the 5,000 mark there. So that's something fun we're going to be going through today as well. But we're going to start off with a radar image here. This is for eastern Idaho and western Wyoming right here. You can see we have Jackson, and then we have Alpine right here down through the Star Valley, and this is eastern Idaho. As you can see, that first band of precipitation that we did see produce some pretty heavy snowfall, especially across the Jackson area over the past few hours and through the Snake River Canyon, Teton Pass, and into the Salt River Valley here, or this, wow, that was terrible. But we are going to be watching another band of snow that is going to fill in the place of this last band of snow here. We may see an hour or so of lighter snowfall rates, as it does look like we're starting to thin out here in between the bands. But this one is going to come through. The second band here is going to come through with a vengeance overnight tonight and is likely to last at least through the morning hours tomorrow, while we await a third band that's expected to move through and likely be the strongest of these bands. That'll come through on Saturday evening and overnight hours there. So we're going to probably see about a half foot of snow overnight from this band. We already saw like 3 to 4 inches widespread from this first band as well. So we'll likely be seeing 10 inches in quite a few spots by the morning hours tomorrow here, especially just south of Driggs through Jackson, into the Palisades region, Alpine, and so on. Likely not seeing as much with this first round down in the southern Star Valley here, but we're going to make up for lost time down there with this storm. Once we start getting those bands in tomorrow, they're expected to set up a little bit further south than today. Likely our winners from this storm, of course, the Tetons. But when it comes to valley locations, it's probably going to be the northern Star Valley as always with these events here. And then the benches just along the front range of the Salt Range here, like the ranch and all those places here down through Thane, we're going to be seeing those maximized snowfall totals. So first of all here, we're going to go and break down the YDOT webpage and road conditions here, and then we'll go into our future cast of what we're going to be looking at in terms of conditions as we go through the next couple of days here through Monday. Just making sure we have that up. Perfect. This is the statewide view of cameras and road conditions across Wyoming right now. As you can see, most of the state is pretty clear right now, except for the Star Valley through the Snake River Canyon and Teton Pass right now, also up toward Jackson and Togety passes. We are seeing some pretty intense conditions right now as that first band is making its way through the area. Just checking out this alert here for Togety Pass. Does look like we have no unnecessary travel orders in place for Togety Pass right now. And that is likely where we're going to see the most intense conditions, as well as up in the Teton Pass here, especially as we head through the day tomorrow, as we're expecting winds to really ramp up across the area. I can't really get a good view there because the sun is down, of course. But what we're going to be seeing likely tomorrow afternoon is going to be the worst conditions with the storm, especially if you're planning to travel north of Jackson towards the Jackson Hole Airport and up through Teton National Park and Togety Pass here. especially as winds are supposed to get up over blizzard force for a couple hours here during the afternoon and evening hours on Saturday. Likely going to be seeing road closures up north of the Jackson Hole Airport here before all is said and done tomorrow, as those winds pick up, and we'll likely see significantly reduced visibilities due to that blowing and drifting snow going on up through Togety Pass and through the Teton National Park sections of State Route 26 here. Looking up at Teton Pass right now. No, we don't want to look at that. We do currently have a chain law in effect over Teton Pass right now, as indicated by those red colors you're seeing right there. And it would be great if I could scroll down here to show you guys the road. But as you can see, the road over Teton Pass right now is pretty well snowpacked. It does look like we do have a little bit of blacktop showing. But again, chain law in effect is there is significant ice cover underneath this snowpack right here. Looking like we're starting to get into that lull of precipitation between the two bands up on Teton Pass here. Looking a little bit further south down towards the Alpine area, if you guys are traveling from Jackson to Alpine, I know there's still a couple of people up there trying to commute through the canyon. We just went through the canyon ourselves, and it was not the best. Heavy snow was ongoing, and as always, roads completely snow covered in there right now, and localized blowing and drifting snow was occurring as we were going through the area there. And as you can see, the webcams in Alpine are showing that story right here, with heavy, large snowflakes starting to fall across the Alpine area and the front range of the Salt Range, and of course the Tetons as well. We'll likely see this lighten up, as we did just say, in between these two bands, but in the next couple of hours, we'll likely see that dry air start to fill back in as another wave of moisture and snow associated with this atmospheric river event starts to reinvigorate across the region here. So looking at our future cast here, looking at the models, the high resolution models here, let me get over to those really quick just so we can show you what's going on here. There we go. Just make sure you guys can see that real quick before we get going. There we go. Those are the models for you right here. And we're going to break them down all the way through Monday for the entire state of Wyoming. This is generally the better view, especially for those western mountains here. This was that first wave of precipitation we just saw move through and is starting to leave the area. This is from about 6 hours ago. And as you can see, that kind of lingers across the area. And then we get that little lull here for about an hour or so before this second wave of moisture starts to move in a little bit further south than that first band did. Likely seeing impacts from this band going from, say, Hoback down through the Snake River Canyon, Alpine, and through towards the Afton area here. This banding feature is going to be coming through overnight and into tomorrow morning. And this is going to be bringing heavy snow throughout the night to the Star Valley area, Snake River Canyon. Going to be making tomorrow's morning commute pretty treacherous across those areas, as we're going to likely be seeing a lot of blowing and drifting snow starting to develop as we enter the morning hours tomorrow. And as you can see, this is that band depicted by the models here. Looks to remain pretty intense, especially along the Salt River Range there. A little bit weaker up north toward Jackson. Going to be seeing this band slowly start to weaken as we head into those morning hours tomorrow, those mid-morning hours tomorrow. We'll see that break in the precipitation and then another reinvigoration of this moisture associated with the atmospheric river across the area, likely by early tomorrow afternoon. And this is going to be associated with a very strong jet stream at low levels here, which will likely bring some of those higher gusts down to the surface, especially in the favored downsloping regions, such as northern Jackson Hole through the airport there, and then up toward Moran and down toward or up to Togety Pass here, where some of the heavier snowfall is expected tomorrow with this slight northerly shift to the bands here. So definitely something to watch. As you can see, Jackson up through Driggs and Victor will likely get the first impacts of this band. And then as we start getting a little surge of cooler air into the area, drier air, that band's going to shift off to the south and start impacting the Star Valley a little bit more there as we head into the afternoon hours tomorrow. Again, this is going to be another briefer banding feature before the real event starts to show up as we head into Saturday night and into Sunday morning here. As you can see, this band down to the south, this is going to be a surge of warmer air pushing its way north associated with this atmospheric river event. And as you can see, you see that band of moisture start to surge north. And this is about as widespread as it gets here. We've got a nice wide open fetch right off the Pacific, streaming right into the Tetons and the Salt River Range here. So going to be very interesting travel-wise as we head into the overnight hours on Saturday and into Sunday morning if you all are commuting to the ski resorts or wherever you're heading off to here. And this band is going to last quite a while, potentially for a day across the region here before any source of dry air is able to make it into the area to kind of cut this thing off. These are 1 hour frames right here, and you can see this, especially the salt range here, is going to be impacted for how many frames? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and it just keeps going. So at least a day of this very steady, heavy banding feature impacting those western slopes. And it's even continuing past this, but we'll likely see this band start to shift off to the north as slightly warmer air does move into the region. And that forcing for the heavier snow starts to move on off to the north slightly before it again starts to sag further south, and likely seeing heavy snow reinvigorate across the area again on Tuesday. So likely going to be needing more winter storm warnings in place after the current winter storm warnings as this band starts to make its way down to the south. Looking at the expected accumulated precipitation. So this is if you melted down the snow and turned it into a liquid. This is how much would fall right here. And this pretty much tells the story. I don't need to tell you too much here. These brighter colors mean a lot of precipitation falling across the region. Some areas here, such as Alpine, you're looking at almost 1.7 inches of QPF falling here. What that means in terms of snow, we'll translate that out for you here. We're looking at those 14-to-1 ratios, maybe even as low as 12. So we'll be conservative on this forecast right here, just for kicks and giggles of it. That's just another 20 inches of snow on top of the 4 inches we've already seen here. So that would be 2 feet, and that band is not done yet across the region, even at this point. So likely seeing higher snowfall totals than what we are depicting right here, as the high resolution model is not going out that far. Heading into that Snake River Canyon area. Oh, this is just crazy in here. What is that? 3 inches of precipitation through Snake River Canyon here. Doing a quick look at that. That would be showing through that Sunday heavy band that we're talking about, Sunday night into Monday here. That would be looking at about 30 to 40 inches of snow falling within the Snake River Canyon here, which is significantly higher than previous model runs had been showing across the area. We were seeing something in the range of 20 to 28 inches, and that has continued to increase as we get better resolution on these heavy banding features that are expected to impact the area. One big change to the forecast that we have been noticing is Jackson Hole. We are starting to see the potential for more easterly winds than southeasterly. What that means, the Tetons are going to block a lot of the moisture from coming over the Tetons. And what that means is we're not going to be seeing as much snowfall in the Jackson Hole area, although we are still going to be seeing quite a bit of snowfall, just not as much snowfall as previously expected here. Looking at those totals for Jackson Hole, we can be expecting an additional, say, 8 to 11 inches in the Jackson Hole area here through the day on Monday. And again, this is not the end of the storm. This is just the first half of the storm we're talking about here, with more significant snow being possible as the band starts to move back through the area Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll definitely start doing more posts about that as we get a little bit closer there to that part of the event, and we start getting these better resolution models getting a handle on it. Looking down into the southern Star Valley here, we are still seeing the potential for significant snow across the area, especially Schmoot, Afton, and pretty much up through the whole Star Valley to Alpine, but just slightly lesser totals than we were showing for the Alpine area. Likely going to be seeing anywhere in the 15 to 20 inch range for the first half of this event. Through the southern Star Valley, central Star Valley, and then the northern Star Valley, could see areas reaching the 2-foot mark by the end of the day on Monday here. And again, about 3 feet for the Snake River Canyon. Going to see very significant travel disruptions, especially across Teton Pass and the Snake River Canyon with this event. Star Valley as well, seeing high impacts. Potentially upwards of extreme impacts here through the higher mountain passes, Togety, Teton Pass, and the Snake River Canyon with these higher totals being expected here. Looking over the Teton Pass, well, people were saying that there was the potential to hit the century mark there. It is certainly possible, not on Teton Pass, but the higher ranges of the Tetons. Likely going to be seeing anywhere from, say, 4 to 5 feet falling through Monday on Teton Pass here, with certainly a possibility of getting at least 6 or 7 feet on the highest reaches of the Tetons, say the Grand, and then down through the main resorts such as Targhee and Jackson Hole Mountain Resort here. And as well, with those heavier banding features along the salts, certainly the potential there for seeing significant snowfall for any of you backcountry skiers, snowmobilers, anything like that. Seeing upwards of, I think 8 inches is a bit extreme there, but likely seeing anywhere in the 4 to 5 feet of snow falling across the salts and Tetons here as we head through the day on Monday, with more expected to come through the middle of next week here. We'll keep you updated on that as we get a little bit closer. Looking at that banding feature we were talking about before that's about to head through the area, we're going to bring up a little analysis showing that area of moisture that is still pushing through. Again, the radar around here, it gets blocked by the mountains pretty easily. So it's very hard to determine where precipitation is falling across western Wyoming and where it's not. This is a very good way to determine where precipitation is actually falling. It does show you how much moisture is available for snowfall throughout the entire atmosphere. So these shaded areas are areas in which snow is likely falling currently. And you can see we have a nice pipe of moisture blasting into the southern Tetons through the alpine area here, and down through the Palisades. This is likely to continue for the next couple hours here before we start seeing some breaks in between this band. And then we'll await the next stream of moisture coming in tomorrow afternoon, which will be extremely significant and prolific in producing snowfall across the area here as we head into this weekend. Just checking comments here real quick. All right. Awesome. And then just a couple other areas we did want to note as well. The Evanston area and Sweetwater County are also going to get in on this event as well. As normal with these easterly flow events, we get that spillover from the Wasatch Range here north of Salt Lake, and that tends to spill over into the Sweetwater County area before things start to dry out as you head out towards Rock Springs. But the Sisters right here likely going to be seeing significant road impacts from heavy snow falling here. Temperatures are going to be on the warmer side, so we may see a mix in with rain. But that's not going to be helpful during the overnight hours, as we'll likely see those temperatures drop, rain turn to snow, and potentially getting that black ice to form on, say, I-80 and any local roadways in the Sweetwater County area, especially here, as winter weather advisories have been posted. It is certainly possible here that we could see anywhere from the 4 to 8 inch range across the Sisters, with like locally lower amounts as you get either to the east or west side of the Sisters there, seeing anywhere in the range of 2 to 4 inches falling. But likely in this area, black ice is going to be the main issue, with limited visibilities being a secondary issue for this area right here of I-80. As we head a little bit further east along I-80, it does look like it dries out, but again, high winds, as always, are going to be a significant issue along I-80 here, potentially seeing winds hitting hurricane force across a large majority of I-80 here, especially the downwind areas of Elk Mountain and the I-80 high point there. So any areas east of Elk Mountain and the I-80 high point could see those hurricane force wind gusts as you get the wind kind of ejecting itself down the mountain and accelerating down the mountain slopes there with a favorable perpendicular flow over the ranges there. Again, Elk Mountain and into the Rawlins area, likely not seeing significant snowfall here, likely only a couple of inches, but blowing and drifting and locally blizzard conditions being possible are going to be the main threats across this area right here, from Rawlins over through Elk Mountain here as we head through the weekend. Main impacts from this, it's likely going to be happening around Saturday night into the Sunday morning hours. That's when the heaviest precipitation is expected to fall, especially across the Sweetwater County area and into Rawlins and the Elk Mountain regions of I-80 here, also including the Sisters as well. Looking at the surface wind gusts, because this is going to be what's causing those near blizzard conditions in areas, we are going to be having in this little pipe right here associated with that stronger jet stream we were talking about, up into the Jackson Hole area, also looking at the Teton Valley of Idaho and through the Antelope Flats of Idaho as well, where winds are going to be pretty close to that blizzard force here, seeing 30 knots here. So we're getting close to 35 miles an hour, which is the minimum criteria for those blizzard conditions and whiteout conditions to occur. So definitely need to be watching out for this. This is likely going to be happening during the late afternoon and into the evening and overnight hours on Saturday, as we've been mentioning a couple of times in our posts here. And again, as this jet starts to push off to the east, we're going to be seeing an invigoration of these very strong winds developing across the I-80 corridor here, maybe even seeing blizzard conditions down here through the Sweetwater County area, as we're seeing wind gusts here likely being in the 55-mile-an-hour range, which will likely cause widespread blizzard conditions across I-80 along the Sweetwater County area. The only saving grace here is that the snow is going to be wet, so it's going to be harder to blow around. But 55-mile-an-hour winds, as a lot of us in Wyoming know, is going to make the snow blow no matter how wet the snow is itself. And then over here, looking at the I-80 corridor near Elk Mountain in the Rawlins area, here's our near hurricane force wind gusts here. Seeing those winds getting up into the 60 to 70 mile an hour range as you head over the Elk Mountain area and into the I-80 high point here. Looking like Laramie is going to be in a bit of a calm spot here since it's a little bit outside that downsloping area. But areas just before Laramie and in between that and Rawlins, likely going to be seeing an extreme blowover risk developing here. I know we're seeing one right now. It's going to let down for a little bit, and then we're going to be seeing that reinvigoration of hurricane force wind gusts across these areas as we head through. What time frame is this? This is going to be Sunday, late morning, early morning here. We'll see that reinvigoration of those strong wind gusts, and we can expect that to continue through the day on Sunday. And the scary part we're seeing here is as that heavy band moves north, that one that we were mentioning, we're going to see those wind gusts really start to crank up yet again across the Star Valley. Not quite into Jackson Hole this second round. That's happening on Sunday here, but we'll likely be seeing significant issues through the Star Valley here, as it does appear near blizzard conditions are going to be possible, as those winds could be gusting up into the 35 to 45 mile an hour range. If this happens, would be causing some near extreme road impacts here due to blowing and drifting snow through the Star Valley if this were to unfold. And since this has been pretty consistent over the last several model runs here, I would not be surprised at all to see this high to extreme road impact occur here across the Star Valley area due to these pretty strong winds, as it does not get as windy over here as a lot of other places across, say, the I-80 corridor here in the wind corridor. So definitely something slightly above average for the area in terms of wind. And then we'll likely see this kind of taper off as we head into the day on Monday and winds start to subside, except for the main areas of the wind corridor here from Sweetwater County down through the Elk Mountain area, Laramie, and over the I-80 high point right here. Definitely a lot of things to look at as we go through the next several days. So we are going to keep an eye on it for you. We'll continue to post as needed regarding these individual bands across the area. Oh, it did not look like I was sharing the models there when we went over, but hopefully I described that well enough. If you do have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them there, since it doesn't look like we ended up sharing that model screen we were on there. Let me have a look at the comments here. Warning to lake users. This is from Scott Schwab right here. I'll put it up on the screen. Heavy snow is pushing down on the lake ice slabs and could cause water to push up through the cracks around the edges and ice fishing holes, potentially flooding the surface. Yes, that is a huge issue with these events, especially when you start getting the wind on top of it. It can create a movement in the ice that makes it unstable. So definitely try to stay off of any lake surfaces or river surfaces during this event while we're waiting for things to kind of freeze up again. And we get into the colder temperatures behind the system here, especially with the slightly above freezing temperatures that are expected. It is possible that we could see the ice start to move in unpredictable ways, especially if you're snowmobiling out on the lakes or ice fishing, anything like that. So good catch on that there. And as long as there's no other questions here, we'll answer anything that does come up just in text comments here. But if there's no other questions, we are going to head out for the night, and we will see you guys in our next post here. Let's just see where we're at. Okay, perfect. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one.